One of the headlines of the last couple of days, Binance acquiring 3 financial licenses for different parts of its operations to operate here in the ADGM. We are joined by the exchange's Global Chief Marketing Officer, Rachel Conlon. Good morning, it's nice to see you.
Good morning, thank you for having us.
So this sign-off from the regulatory authority here for 3 of your entities, exchange, clearinghouse and your broker-dealer services. What as a whole is it going to allow you to do?
It's a really exciting milestone, not just for Binance, but for our industry. It is the first license of its type globally, which means that our entire platform, end-to-end, our 300 million users across the 100 markets we operate in, are governed by the ADGM. And for us, what that means, we are big believers in the future as regulated. That is the way for us to bring more users into this industry in a safe and secure way. And that just has extra levels of consumer protection. And for institution, it also allows us to work on more sophisticated and elevated products, which if we think about this week at Abu Dhabi Finance Week, where we're seeing that merging of institutional, both from a traditional and from a digital asset perspective, that gets very exciting.
Will it change the way you operate at the moment?
Over the last 3 years, we have done incredible work to re-engineer our compliance systems. We're a very young industry, relevant. It took 100 years to build the financial system as we know it. And this industry, digital assets industry, has been built in less than 10. Over the last 3 years, as I was saying, we have over 1,000 people that now operate in compliance and law enforcement. And I think this will just help us work alongside our regulators to continue to strengthen and cultivate that culture of compliance that is already deeply entrenched within Binance.
I'm pulling up a headline here from Fortune magazine saying Binance has been proudly nomadic for years. This announcement, suggests that it's finally chosen an HQ. Is Abu Dhabi now your global headquarters?
It is not our global headquarters. It is our regulatory home, is how I would describe it. We are 6,000 people globally. We have over 1,000 people based here in UAE. Myself, I'm based here in Abu Dhabi and have been for 4 years. So we are a remote business globally. We have offices around the world, but we do not have a headquarter. But this will be our global regulatory home.
Will it mean that more of your staff, you've said that 1,000 out of that 6,000 are here, does it mean that more of them will be based here?
Well, based on the requests I get from my own marketing team, I know everyone wants to be based in the UAE. And look, the sentiment is that UAE has opened its doors to the Web3 space, over the last 5 years and welcomed us in. It's really become the global hub for what is digital assets, crypto, blockchain, and you can see that through the volume of people that are involved in the industry here. And I think this week is a brilliant manifestation of that, and also the people involved. So I do expect that we will have more people moving here alongside the broader ecosystem as well.
What percentage of Binance staff could end up being based in Abu Dhabi?
Well, at the moment, we are about 20% of our staff are based here in UAE. I don't know the specifics. We look at a country level. And also we're dealing, with a lot of digital nomads on the team as well, the next gen. But I estimate that it can only grow, in the next year, it could be up to 25%.
You've got a new CEO, co-CEO, which is the other big news coming out from Binance. Of course, CZ stepping down a couple of years ago. Richard Teng now being joined by another co-founder. Why do you need two?
Why do we need to? Well, let's just think this industry is growing at a pace that we have never seen in any other industry. Yihi was one of the co-founders originally and has been deeply involved in the business since day one, and really the mastermind behind what is a lot of our customer approach, our values, our culture, really driving a lot of product innovation. But on the parallel side, Richard is deeply focused on regulatory and policy making. And that requires, we have an army of people that are not just working with UAE, but working around the world, even in markets that we're not in yet, to ensure that clear policy frameworks are being put into place. As the largest, we sit at 300 million users as of Monday in over 100 markets. And as the largest, we really represent the voice of the user. And there is a lot of education that still needs to happen, not just at the user level, but at every stakeholder. So whether it be government, regulator, and that's why we have that dual focus. And look, we're seeing that in many other companies in the Web2 space as well. We've seen Netflix has a dual CEO. I know Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan has put dual CEOs in most of his business units as well. So it's something in terms of the dividing dividing and conquering on what needs to happen in this next chapter.
What does need to happen in this next chapter?
We need to focus on continuing, we're still small relevant to the traditional finance industry. We talk about getting to that billion users as being our North Star, and really what that represents is that we'll have 1 in 5 people on the planet interacting with crypto in some stage. So we've got hyper growth that needs to happen. In order for that to happen, we need to continue to clarify the regulatory frameworks and policies and work alongside governments, public and private sector to ensure those frameworks are being put in the right place. We also need to double down on product innovation. And that's the most exciting part that we are looking at the moment.
You're very pro-regulation, very
Yes.
pro that sort of adult in the room, if you like. And I can understand that in terms of attracting institutional investors as a grown-up financial institution. We've still got volatility in the crypto space, full stop though. I mean, Bitcoin losing, about 14-15% in November, a former slide in December. How do you balance that, the volatility and the uncertain nature of crypto with yourselves aligning with grown-up financial institutions?
That's fair. I think what we are seeing is a lot of volatility the same way you see with FX, with commodities market. It's alongside traditional assets as well. For us, given we are very retail first, we have to focus on as much education as possible. The regulator ensures that we're keeping our standards high and the benchmarks are there in terms of how we're governing the platform, but we also need to make sure we're educating retail users on how to protect themselves as well. So that's a big part of what we do.
Last question, 40 seconds. You got a $2 billion investment from MGX, so from UAE money earlier this year. They took a minority stake. How has that changed Binance?
They are great strategic partners. They are supporting us in terms of our global expansion efforts. But the credibility that brings in the capital markets to have a sovereign wealth fund at the level of MGX, as well as the portfolio that they're also involved in. So it's a great partnership and supporting our strategic expansion.
Rachel Conlon is Binance's Global Chief Marketing Officer. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.